Effective communication is so important. When you're struggling, it's so important to ask for help. At the beginning of this job, I think I was such a completely different person.
How has this role shaped you?
If you ask me to go to a department now in front of like Warwick Business School students and talk about our organization, previously I would have said no. Put yourself out of your comfort zone, because if you don't ask for these opportunities, you won't get them. It can be really scary at first, but once you start doing it, it becomes so much more easier.
Are you feeling good? Shall we start? Hello everyone, my name is Turlen. I'm the Digital Content Officer here at Warwick Enterprise. So today we have an amazing guest, Kusum. Thank you for being here. Could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Hi everyone, I'm Kusum Gurung. I'm one of the 6 amazing innovation fellows, and I'm a final year biomedical student as well.
Can you start with providing a little backstory about how did you find out about Warwick Enterprise and what inspired you to become an innovation fellow?
I actually started off by being a student for one of the programs called Startup Sherpas. It was during my second year, and it was how I found out about this role. And I think by being immersed in this startup program, I was able to connect with other like minded students, and I was able to know more about this whole work enterprise ecosystem. And I network a lot. I really immersed myself in some of the amazing opportunities work enterprise had to offer. And that's how I found out about this role.
What does it look like to be an innovation fellow here at Warwick Enterprise?
It is such a highly dynamic job. You just don't know what sort of projects you'll be going to be working on. But just to give like a little bit of a background, so there's 6 of us, and all of us, we are really highly collaborative, and we represent from a very like different degree streams. And I represent the life sciences sort of degree stream, and we all have our niche role that we have as well. So mine would be creating resources with my mentor Luda, and it can really range. So it can be going to different departments talking more about work enterprise, or it can even be about more niche projects, so working with your mentors about co-developing a new module or creating posters and surveys. And it really does vary, but that's what I love about the job, because you don't know what sort of project you're going to be on, and you get to collaborate with so many amazing people and really immerse yourself within this whole university ecosystem.
Among all of these projects, what do you feel most proud of?
One that really sticks out to me is, there's been a lot of projects that I've been proud of, but I think one that really sticks out to me is the one I did right at the beginning of this job, where, as a fresher, when you see all of these stalls during open week, you might feel overwhelmed and you might not know what the stall is really about. So what I did was I actually created some visual boards where the students could see our success stories, and it was kind of sort of like an icebreaker as well. So I had little stickers for them to like pick if they had a business idea or if they had a problem they wanted to solve. And I think that sort of ignited really interesting conversations between us. It really does involve me speaking with a lot of people and really collaborating with not just innovation fellows, but with students and the wider innovation district as well. And by speaking more, I get a sense of where I can come in and where I can make processes much more easier, much more quicker and efficient, and sort of innovate on them and make it just much more appealing. And I try to put myself in the perspective of students and as someone who works at Warwick Enterprise, and try to make the whole process much more easier and accessible for everyone.
Is there anything that you're currently working on?
Yes, there is. I'm in fact currently in the process of creating a new innovation fellow badges for us. And I'm also creating a hackathon toolkit. So for those who have ever been to a hackathon, a lot of process does go at behind the scenes. And one of the things I'd like to do is to make hackathon development, this whole process, much more easier for the organizers who are developing it. So essentially, it utilizes a lot of creative thinking skills and problem solving skills. And yeah, and it's such a fun project. Another project that I've been working on is this sort of podcast series as well. I really want to showcase more entrepreneurship and innovation within the life sciences and STEM students. So another project that I'm hoping to do is showcase more of that.
Is there anything that surprised you along the way and kind of shift your perspective?
One such instance that comes to mind is when working with my mentor in co-developing a module. There was a lot of process that I had to go through, such as I had to develop a survey and a poster, and I didn't realize that there was a lot of I think approval process that goes behind it that I initially hadn't anticipated at the beginning. For instance, the branding had to be cohesive with the overall university branding when launching a poster, for instance. And a lot of this just made me appreciate a lot of the background scenes that goes behind. You might walk down campus and you might see a poster, but you just don't know how much process and thought and a lot of collaboration that goes behind what you might not previously anticipated. So I think that's one thing that I was not a challenge, but it's something that I had to learn to navigate over time, but it definitely became easier. One thing that I learned was effective communication is so important. And I think this should be applicable to all students as well, especially those trying to get into corporate roles or internships. When you're in a professional setting, I think effective communication from your end is so important. And another thing I realized is when you're struggling, it's so important to ask for help because there will be a support out there, there will be guidance. And I think this was one of the first projects that I took on as well. And I kind of wanted to see competent at the beginning. So I wanted to see more independent. So I didn't ask a lot of questions. But in hindsight, one of the things I would have done differently, I would have reached out more, I would have asked more support and guidance. And effective communication is also really important. So I think these two things definitely helped me throughout the process.
So, if I were to ask you to compare yourself now and to when you first started the role, um, how has this role shaped you?
When I think about myself at the beginning of this job, I think I was such a completely different person. This job has just developed so many skills and has opened so many opportunities and avenues that I just hadn't anticipated before. For instance, if you ask me to go to a department now in front of like Warwick Business School students and talk about our organization, previously I would have said no. I would have said I'm not able to do this.
Yeah.
But over time, it has really developed a lot of these skills, such as creative thinking skills, problem solving skills, and a lot of collaborative skills as well that is so applicable and transferable to future jobs and applications and just in general. And it has helped me, benefited me academically and professionally so much as well. And I think my definition of innovation and entrepreneurship has definitely changed since I started this job.
Yeah.
Because by directly working alongside student startups and graduate ventures, it was so inspiring to see them work. And I learned that innovation is not just about pushing boundaries, it's about creating a solution that requires a lot of work and energy into it. And I know from collaborating with these startups firsthand, it is a lot of time and effort, and it just made me have a much more deeper appreciation for that as well. What I didn't realize was I would be joining with so many like-minded students, and I'll be entering an atmosphere and an environment that is so supportive. And I think what work students need to realize is that it's also readily available for them as well. And I think since joining as a student now to an innovation fellow, like I mentioned previously, I'm a life sciences STEM student, so it doesn't really open a lot of opportunities for me to be creative or innovative. And I think this job has really developed these skills in it. And it has helped me so much when I'm trying to apply to future jobs. And I don't know if you've read this article actually. Forbes did like a side-by-side comparison of skills employers wanted to see back then as to what they wanted to see now, and has actually rapidly changed over time. And they really emphasize more on innovative and entrepreneurial skills over time. So I think in a way, Warwick Enterprise has helped me so much in developing these skills, while I also have like a solid science foundation. It has helped me with so much with my transferable skills.
So, last question. For those who are listening to our content now and who were just like you before joining us, what would be the piece of advice that you would like to give to them?
I think one piece of advice that I learned from my own journey is to put yourself out of your comfort zone, because if you don't ask for these opportunities, you won't get them. And I think where I am today is because I learned how to collaborate, I learned how to network, and it can be really scary at first, but it's important to put yourself out there. And once you start doing it, it becomes so much more easier. So really put yourself out of your comfort zone. And if it's scary at first, take a friend, bring a friend along to all of these Warwick Enterprise opportunities that we offer. And yeah, so don't be afraid to go out there and make the best of what Warwick Enterprise has to offer.
It has been such a pleasure. Thank you for sharing all of your stories and your journey and your experience with us. Thank you so much for your time.